Welcome. This hour is an invitation, a slow, steady calling back to yourself. If you are 55 or older, you carry a life that is both heavy with memory and bright with possibilities. Tonight I want to speak to that exact place, to the quiet rooms you occupy, the small rituals that anchor you, the losses that still ache, and the loves that keep arriving. This is a single voice, a companion for the long evenings and the plain mornings, a map stitched from ancient lines into the fabric of your daily life. Breathe gently. Let these words land as an offering, not an assignment. Listen as if you were returning to a familiar house you haven't entered for a while. We begin with a truth from a poet who lived 7 centuries ago, a truth that keeps finding ears and hearts across time and language. He taught that silence can be a language, that wounds can become windows, that the deepest journeys happen inside the small room of the self. Tonight we will translate that wisdom into practical steps, brief practices you can do with a teacup in your hand, small experiments you can try after dinner, gestures that will slowly rearrange your days. This is for people who have known work and worry, children and caretaking, triumphs and missteps. It is for those who now ask different questions. How do I find meaning in quieter days? How do I remain useful and tender? How do I love without keeping score? If that feels like you, stay. Let the voice be a soft companion. Listen to this first line, not as instruction, but as a doorway. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you feel, and twice as beautiful as you imagine. Say it inwardly. Let it settle in a place that remembers what courage looks and feels like. You have already lived through winters. You know how to keep a lantern. There is a special kind of silence I want to describe. It is not the absence of sound alone. It is the space where the noise of should and must falls away and something clearer can be heard. Imagine a morning when the house is quiet, when the kettle whistles and a single bird calls outside. In that hush, small answers arrive, the name of a person to call, the thought you'd been missing, the memory that needs tending. This is not accidental. It is the way the inner world reorganizes itself when it is given room. Try a small practice. Each morning, for 5 minutes, sit in a chair in the light. No reading, no phone, no agenda. Breathe in gently for 4 counts, out for 6. When thoughts come, notice them and return to the breath as if returning to a conversation with an old friend. The first few days this will feel empty or odd. By the second week, it will start to feel like a place you can visit. Harish, age 62, found that in 10 quiet minutes one morning, the urge to write to an old friend rose fully formed. That letter mended something he had carried for decades. Silence created room for reconciliation. That is its ordinary miracle. Next, everything you seek is often already within you. For most of our lives, we are taught to reach outward, to build careers, to raise children, to collect respect. Rumi, the poet who loved the inner life, reminds us that the treasures we hunt for externally often live inside our own heart: patience, courage, and unhurried curiosity. A woman named Layla, who spent 30 years teaching and caring for others, reached retirement feeling useful but unseen. She began almost playfully to translate small poems that had once been read to her as a child and compiled them into a journal for her grandchildren. This inward act turned into a strange flowering. Grandchildren came to visit. Neighbors asked for copies, and Lila discovered a voice she had shelved long ago. The resource she needed most was not a new credential. It was permission to pay attention to what she already loved. So ask yourself tonight, what are 3 small pleasures from your childhood? A flavor, a sound, a place. Tomorrow, bring one back. Make the rice the way your grandmother did. Play a song that reminds you of a certain summer. Rediscovering a taste or a tune can open a small gate to the present. It is a way of letting your younger self whisper advice into your ear. There is a kind of courage that matters more now than any public success, the courage to change yourself. Yesterday I wanted to change the world, the wise poet said. Today I am changing myself. For older adults, this lesson is liberating. The world will turn regardless, but your inward change has the power to set free the people around you. Raj, married for 42 years, found his relationship had grown polite but distant. Grand gestures hadn't brought them closer. Small daily acts did. Each evening he asked one simple question: "What made you smile today?" And listened. No defense, no correction. Listening grew into curiosity. Curiosity grew into tenderness. It took time, patience, and the willingness to be a little vulnerable, but the change began at home, quietly. Try this tonight. Notice one habitual reaction that no longer serves you: the quick retort, the impatience with a slow driver, the tendency to remind someone of a past mistake. For 2 weeks, when you notice that impulse, take a slow breath in and out, pause, a small space will appear between impulse and reaction, and in that space you will have freedom to choose. Small acts repeated become the architecture of a different life. Another image I want you to keep is the guest house. Rumi's lines remind us that being human is like a guest house. Every morning a new visitor appears. Joy, sadness, anger, pride. Treat each as an honored guest. Why? Because even painful emotions carry gifts. Grief, for instance, rearranges a heart so something new can grow. Maria, at 59, lost her brother unexpectedly. For months she felt hollowed out. She started a small ritual. Each morning she welcomed the grief for an hour. Let it come, let it cry, let it speak. Then, in the afternoon, she deliberately did one small joyful thing: a short walk, a phone call with a friend, a slice of mango. Over time the grief did not vanish but changed form. It softened into a companion that taught her gentleness. Practice. Next time a difficult feeling arises, say silently, "Welcome," notice its texture. Does it demand movement or rest? Let it inform you, then choose an action rooted in kindness toward yourself. Patience is the hidden muscle for this chapter of life. We live in an age that rewards speed, immediate messages, instant answers, fast fixes. But some things, healing, reconciliation, trust, do not move at that pace. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active presence. For someone rebuilding health after surgery, patience is the daily physiotherapy session, the steady walk around the block. For someone mending a relationship, patience is the repeated small choice to show up without expectation. Make a weekly practice. Pick one long-term intention and break it into tiny steps. If your intention is to heal, list one manageable action per week. 5 minutes of stretching 4 times. A phone call to your doctor, a walk with a neighbor. These micro steps are the scaffolding that allows real change to occur without overwhelming your spirit. Now let us speak of wounds. Rumi famously said the wound is the place where light enters. Pain and failure are not simply losses. They are openings. Arun, who lost his business in his 60s, felt immense shame and retreated. Months later, he began sharing his story in a community group, not to boast, not to excuse, but to tell the truth. In owning the failure, he discovered that vulnerability is a form of power. People he thought he had nothing to offer learned from his experience. He found meaning in helping others avoid similar mistakes. The wound had become a doorway. A simple prompt: write a paragraph about a painful time you have never told anyone. Don't plan to show it. Notice how naming it alters its weight. Words can be rain for a wound. They shift things in the body. Letting go is another essential art. Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. At a certain age, you gain the rare permission to release possessions that crowd a house, grudges that crowd a mind, identities that no longer fit. It can be hard. Objects carry memory. Roles hold purpose, but clearing is often liberty. Try a 30-minute clearing practice. Choose one drawer or one small shelf. Spend 30 minutes deciding. Keep what brings life. Donate what can bless another. Recycle what weighs you down. This is not loss as defeat. It is an act of hospitality for what's next. Compassion is a practical tool. See through the eyes of compassion. Listen with the ears of tolerance. Speak in the language of love. These are not abstractions. They are ways to navigate the fraught conversations of family and community. If you're in the middle of a disagreement with a loved one, try a small technique. Before responding, paraphrase what the other person said for 2 sentences. This simple act of reflection often diffuses tension because it signals you are present and trying to understand. Priya, who had long struggles with her adult daughter over lifestyle choices, adopted this method and found arguments turned into dialogues. Compassion does not equal agreement. It is the willingness to see another suffering. Presence is one of the quiet superpowers of later life. When you are fully present in a room, at a recital, at a bedside, during a phone conversation, your attention becomes a rare and precious gift. You might have less time than before, but the time you give now matters more deeply. Karen, who had traveled for decades, found himself unmoored in retirement. He chose a small ritual. Each morning he made tea and drank it slowly, paying close attention to the warmth, the steam, the taste. That simple act anchored his days. Presence does not require grandiosity, it requires choice. Gratitude is a practice that rewires perception. Rumi called gratitude the wine of the soul. Get drunk on it. Each night, name 3 small things you are grateful for. They can be tiny: a good cup of tea, a phone call, the sun on your face. Over time, gratitude trains your attention to notice what is working. It does not deny hardship. It widens the field. People who practice gratitude report calmer sleep and a gentler relationship with loneliness, because the practice creates a steady stream of small joys. Another liberating gift at this stage is the freedom from the chase of name and fame. There is a quiet power in being unbothered by what others think. Choose projects now for delight, not for applause. Mina took a pottery class at 65 because she wanted to feel clay, not to sell it. The joy she found returned to other parts of her life, a readiness to experiment, a renewed playfulness. Yet we also carry responsibilities to self-care, to relationships, to leaving a legacy. Love without expectation is a radical discipline. Loving without keeping score does not mean tolerating harm. It means giving from fullness whenever possible and recognizing that the return is not the point. For those whose adult children respond with silence or indifference, loving without expectation is hard and noble. It means continuing to send care because the care itself aligns you with the kind of person you want to be. There will be times when doors close and you think the world has ended. Remember Rumi's promise: when all doors are closed, a secret path appears. This is not magical thinking. It's resilience born of moving forward in small steps. Vinod, after a stroke, believed his active life was over. Through tiny daily exercises and an open heart, he rediscovered the ability to tend a small garden adapted to his needs. His new role, mentoring others in rehabilitation, became a form of service he had never imagined. Love, finally, is an action more than a feeling. It is showing up, forgiving, baking a cake, making a visit even when you're tired. It is the tiny thread that keeps relationships from fraying. Each week, write one short line of encouragement to someone you care about. Make it specific. These threads add up. Now, I want to speak directly about the body. In the second half of life, the body changes, stamina fluctuates, sleep patterns shift, aches can be steady. This demands a new kind of tenderness. Treat your body as you would an old friend who has served you well. Move with curiosity rather than criticism. Small, consistent practices, gentle stretches, regular walks, sleep rituals compound into real improvements. If you're dealing with chronic pain, seek community. A group exercise class, a rehab program, a walking partner. Shared movement is both medical and spiritual. There is also a sacred work in telling your story. Your life is a manuscript of a divine letter. The details, the small acts of courage, the mistakes, the tenderness, are crucial not only for you but for those who will come after you. You don't need to write a memoir. Start with an evening of stories with a neighbor or a brief audio recording for your grandchildren. Speak about what mattered, what you learned. These moments of transmission are gifts that keep giving. Practical tools can help. Keep a small notebook by your bed. Each night write 2 sentences. One thing you noticed today that you want to remember and one small gratitude. Over a month you will have a map of the gentle ways life has turned. Share a piece of it with a trusted friend every couple of weeks. Conversation is a way to refine what is most true. There will be inevitable doubts about relevance, about purpose. These are normal. When doubts come, put them on paper. Ask, what small act today would make me feel like I mattered? Do that act, however small. The act is the proof. Small faithful actions, watering a plant, calling an old friend, starting a tiny hobby, transform doubt into direction. Let me offer a few meditative prompts you can practice anytime. 1. The mirror practice. Each morning stand before a mirror and offer one honest kindness to yourself. It could be as simple as, "You have been brave." Say it aloud. Notice the resistance. Keep practicing. This small ritual retrains your inner voice. 2. The 5-minute return. During the day, when your mind jumps to worry, take 5 intentional breaths, paying attention to the rise and fall of your chest. Name one thing you can control in the next 10 minutes. Do it. Return to your work or your rest with steadier hands. 3. The guest list. When a strong emotion arrives, silently list 3 qualities that the emotion brings: clarity, urgency, tenderness. Ask what it wants. This helps you not be swept under but to steward the feeling. You are also allowed to be light. Joy is not frivolous, it is necessary. Let yourself laugh with abandon when something hits you funny. Let yourself dance in the kitchen to a song you love. These moments release parts of the nervous system held taut for decades. Before we close, I will give you a 7-day companion practice you can take home. Not a heavy program, just a weekly rhythm that touches silence, gratitude, presence, compassion, small creativity, letting go, and a nightly reflection. Day 1, silence. 5 minutes in the morning with breath. No agenda. Day 2, gratitude. Name 3 small gratitudes before bed. Day 3, presence. Choose one daily routine, tea, walking, a phone call, and do it with full attention. Day 4, compassion. Reach out to someone and simply listen without giving advice. Day 5, small creativity. Do something playful with your hands. Draw, knit, fold paper, press flowers. Day 6, letting go. Clear one small space, a drawer, a shelf, a bag, and gift what you don't need. Day 7, nightly reflection. In your notebook, write one way your heart felt lighter this week. At the end of these 7 days, read your notes. See the small threads. You will begin a conversation with your deeper self. As we come toward a close, I want to remind you of something tender. The combination of courage and gentleness is the hallmark of mature life. You have weathered storms. You have learned ways to survive. Now you have the opportunity to steward a life that is fuller and kinder for the people around you. The smallness of daily acts, the steady listening, the honest apology, the quiet care, compounds into a visible architecture of meaning. If these words found you, if they warmed you or unsettled you in ways that matter, subscribe to this channel for more meditative readings and practical reflections tuned to those who carry years like treasure. Share this episode with a friend who might need a calm voice tonight. A neighbor, a sibling, someone who wakes early and watches the light. Visit our website for a printable 7-day companion and a short practice guide that you can tuck beside your bed. If this touched you, leave a brief comment about which passage stirred something inside. Your one line helps others find a similar solace. And now, a final turning inward. Sit very quietly. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the slow beating there. Know that it has been faithful. You have done what you could with the hours you were given. You are not finished. There is more mystery ahead, invitations you cannot yet see. Be patient and brave. Let silence be your map. Let small acts be your compass. Live kindly. Love without keeping score. Be present. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you feel, and twice as beautiful as you imagine. Take one slow breath in. Hold it for a quiet count. Exhale. When you open your eyes, carry one small thing from tonight into tomorrow. Perhaps 5 minutes of quiet at dawn, a small note of gratitude. Before sleep, or a phone call to a person who would be warmed by hearing your voice. These small things are not small in effect. Over time, they become the life you wanted all along. Thank you for sharing this hour. If you would like a printable script, a Word document formatted for voiceover, or a 7-day practice sheet tailored to a specific health or spiritual focus, I am ready to create that for you. For now, breathe, rest, and remember, the quiet fire within you will light 1,000 rooms. And before we close, if this journey touched something inside you, if even one line brought comfort, clarity, or courage, I invite you to support this work in the kindest way possible. If you feel called, you can tap the Super Thanks button. Your gesture, no matter how small, helps keep these long meditative teachings alive and allows me to bring more wisdom, more peace, and more guidance to you and to many others who need it. But remember, your presence here already means more than you know. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. And thank you from the heart for walking this quiet path with me.